Welcome to Shop Squad's Now You Know, a podcast that brings you compelling conversations about today's technical training resources. For information, visit shopsquadonline.com. Henry Ford famously said, "The only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay." Today, keeping up with this all aspects of the rapidly changing technology in today's automotive aftermarket, and at your level of business, is more critical than ever. I'm happy, because of that, to be joined by Philip Austin from NGK to talk about the Shop Squad program. Philip, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about Shop Squad. What is it? What does it mean? We covered it last year in ShopOwner magazine. Briefly, we talked about the program, how it was developing, but let's talk about Shop Squad, what it is and what it's going to be.
Well, the Shop Squad, if you were to just guess, yes, we're a squad. We're a squad that has been formed to support the service professional, the parts professional, the sales professional, all professionals that play a role on the DIFM side of the business, and we understand the challenges. This is how we are positioned to address them. Coming in as a squad that are open-minded, informed, have a training and educational level of expertise background, along with leaning on other industry experts to bring what is needed when needed. Through dialogue, through training events, through simple communication, or even just updates.
Interesting that you use the word squad. So I know you're with NGK, and this is being sponsored, provided by NGK, but it doesn't sound to me like you're planning to do it all by yourself.
Oh, no. It's open-ended. However, we have it structured in a way where it's adaptable. Mm-hmm. And our core understanding is supporting the service shops. We understand that there's different avenues, different support systems, whether it's their parts provider, their first call, whether it's the training programs that they decide to enroll in, depending on their learning method, whether it's in person, a webinar, or just going at their own pace online. We want to be able to touch foundationally on all those areas and incorporate those, not just us, but we have partners. We have to stay up to date ourselves. So we're leveraging that and scaling it so that it's more helpful to our customers. So depending on what their needs are by demographic area, we're coming in as a squad to help them. And the squad only grows because as we get members that are a little more advanced than others, we're going to lean on them too and be able to take this to the levels that it needs to be taken to. So it's always evolving, and we're excited to see it grow.
So technology continues to change in every aspect of the automotive world. You're using it to keep yourselves up to date as well?
Yes, because being now Natera North America, formerly known as NGK Spark Plugs USA, we have positioned ourselves with the OE heritage, along with being the leaders on the aftermarket side, to really make sure that we are well positioned to support not only with the products and services, but from the educational part. And we like to theme it keeping your edge, right? But we want to keep it adaptable based upon the needs. So that's where the whole concept of the squad comes in. Hey, well, depending on what aspect of our squad you want us to come in and support you with, we'll be ready.
Mm-hmm. How did it get birthed? What brought it about? What was the timeline?
I can't even tell you the exact timeline. It was a lot of brainstorming and the listening, not only to the customer, but between our business units that are closest to the customer, along with the expertise from our marketing team that is in a position to understand people and make a clear direction on how to reach them. So putting all those pieces together, it only made sense. Mm-hmm. And maybe one of the team members in our group said, hey, we're a squad. We're going to go out there and support in different areas. This is what like a squad go out and do, right? When you refer to a squad, you're referring to a group of people that have a full focus and understanding and have been coached, and I wouldn't say have the expertise, but have the sensitivity to be hyper focused to go in and do what we need to do.
What are those primary business units that are involved in the Shop Squad?
I'm so glad you asked. One primary one I'm going to mention is the one that I'm blessed to be able to lead, is the training and development.
Okay.
And what we do, obviously, not just training in person, but develop webinars and online learning modules to reach the different levels of professionals on the service side, the sales side, and also the product side. Because all those three elements, or all those three lanes of professionals, all need to be able to keep their edge. So the other pieces that come in order for that to happen is having our sales team, our product team, and our marketing team, along with us, all playing together in the full focus of meeting these professional needs. We understand what the challenges are. We keep each other balanced, regrouping. How is this helping is the general question. And if we can't answer that, it doesn't fly. So we want to know, are we helping these individuals by means of education? Do we have an open lane for dialogue? Are we taking the feedback seriously and moving forward in a direction where we're checking boxes and we're helping these professionals not only go through their learning path, but also be happy that they are part of the Shop Squad community and it's growing, and they could say, hey, I'm a part of this. So no one's at the same level at a particular time, and we're all moving at different speeds, but it's looking like a nice Shop Squad community that's being formed here of all these professionals. So
it's interesting to think of an interactive group of individuals and teams and people coming together, similar to the way that spark plugs, sensors, other systems within the vehicle work together.
Exactly. I love that you mentioned that, because that's exactly it. But the critical thing, just like sensors, right? With sensors, we have obviously teams that are in the corporate environment behind the desk. We have teams that are closer to the customer, such as the sales team and the training and development team. And especially with the training and development team and the sales team, we get the pain points in full color. So whatever we may have been thinking as an organization immediately gets tested or represented by those that are closest to the customer. So it keeps us all balanced here, because it's about meeting the pain points and the challenges of the industry. Let's face it, we're losing technicians. We're not gaining them back at a good rate for sustainability. And we have to figure out how we're going to keep the ones that are still here. So we see this as a serious challenge, and we want to position ourselves as a squad to help.
Couple that with the constantly evolving nature of automotive, from conventional internal combustion engine to hybrid technology to electric technology. Everybody's got to step their game up.
Yeah, absolutely. As I do technical training classes, and this is one thing that it wasn't well received in the beginning. When we surveyed thousands of technicians as we were training them, we realized that there is a group of well-seasoned A technicians. They know where to go for that top shelf training, and they go. Then there's a group, which is the largest of the tech community, that do not go to a lot of training, is not encouraged to go to a lot of training, and they don't have a clear and direct learning path to get from a B tech to an A tech. So we decided to focus more on them. We don't want to saturate the waters of the smaller market where all of you A technicians and top of your game, you know where to go, and I even go with you. But now it's time for an avenue to be built for the Shop Squad team to focus on that B plus tech, or even that sharp C that's moving really quickly, to build that bridge of communication. And it's not just with the tech world, it's also with, we have sales professionals coming from other industries that have to talk through these technologies to help make decisions in regard of the different type of product that needs to be in different areas. Who's training them? So we want to incorporate all those different avenues, help those pain points, those professionals go through their learning path and be supported.
What has it, you mentioned things weren't necessarily well received at first. When we started talking about this last fall, how has it grown? Where, what's the situation now? And where do you see things going?
That's a loaded question. I'll attempt to answer that. Last time we spoke, we were in the stage of learning as we go, but with a sense of understanding where it's at. We had a mix of inquiries of what we want to see. Let's start with training. Hey, I want more training on scope. I have a room full of 40 people. One of the first questions are, how many use a scope or own a scope? A third of the room raises their hand. So how many of you understand the differences between global OBD2 and manufacturer specific? Which one do you start with in your diagnostic process? I'm looking for answers, feedback. It's mixed, and it's also a lot of silence. So where are we gonna take that feedback? We're gonna take that feedback and say, before we build out another scope class that a smaller percentage could actually benefit from, let's help with this big piece of the pie of those that needs to be more efficient and advanced and just using the tools that they do have, which is a scan tool with a VCI unit to at least learn how to navigate through it, right? And be able to come to some sort of diagnosis based off the information that they do have. Now, there are pieces of the diagnostic process that requires a scope when testing certain sensors, but let's take baby steps towards that. So that has been our learning process since we last spoke. And also with the product side, there's no more product training. It's technical product training, because to your point, the industry has evolved to a point that the technology has changed, and even the sales or the parts pro needs to be on top of their game. So we've improved in our communications and helping them keep their edge through various training methods to meet their needs.
Interesting. It sounds like the level of training that's available and offered has maybe traditionally been above what's usually needed. That there's that missing level of training, whether it's for the introductory or slightly advanced technician, not necessarily the guy who already knows a lot.
Yes, exactly. And what I feel, and the reason why being the manager of the training and development department, I like going out and still do training. Why? Because I want to continue to sense who's in the room. It's not my job to impress myself with the knowledge I know. It's my job to challenge myself to make it digestible to help the guy fix a car tomorrow within his skill set. So one of the things within our training program we're encouraged to do, we give out certificates. We just don't give them out. We ask 3 or 4 questions to the group individually, reading the group as we go, giving them ability to give their answer to one question to feel like they actually learned something. They took notes. And those are little ways in which we are encouraging people to learn, pay attention, and feel comfortable that they're not going to sit quietly through a class that was totally over their head and then walk away and be in the same situation tomorrow. So that's the road we're on. The feedback we've been getting has been pretty positive and constructive as well, and we think we're on the right path.
Who has the biggest obligation to take advantage of what the shop squad offers? Is it the shop owner who has the employees? Is it the service advisor who needs to be able to talk to the customers and the tech and the owner? Is it the technician who needs to be able to repair the vehicle? Who needs to take that step and join? And then how do they do it?
All of them, all of the above. We will invite them to join, and we have something for all 3 of those professionals. So whether you're a service advisor or shop owner, we have a new class that we just developed of communication excellence. It's actually going to be a series. But what we're doing is honing in on what is the proper way for us to communicate, not just with the customer, but with each other, the technician, the service advisor to the owner, to the parts provider, and what works and what doesn't work. We put that to the test, along with helping them become ignition and sensor specialists. And when I say that, not just training the technicians, but the shop owner, the service advisor, communicating with the customer. So we want all of those professionals to come through so that they could start their learning path, start their dialogue, and also start receiving the communications that we have for them.
And what's the next step? Who do they contact? How do they find out more?
Great. They find out more by going to shopsquadonline.com or even visit our main webpage, which is ngksparkplugs.com, or Natera North America website, in which you could find links to Shop Squad. But directly, you could go to shopsquadonline.com to enter into our community and start receiving the benefits.
There's a lot out there. I encourage you to sign up today to learn more. Philip Austin, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.